not yet won. Tanks block the traffic, vendors ply their wares. Toppling the dictator is one thing. Erasing a deeply rooted regime of corruption, injustice and thuggery is quite another. The crowd tries to break through the cordon to harangue Prime Minister Shafiq at the parliament buildings, but tanks block their path. There is more talk of counter-revolution, of Mubarak loyalists infiltrating the youth movements.
نفس رجال الاعمال دول بيحاولوا ان هم بيدفعوا فلوس للناس ان هم ينزلوا في الشوارع يقولوا لهم احمد شفيق كويس احمد شفيق مش عارف ايه. في نفس الوقت البلطجيه ورجال الاعمال بيحاولوا ان هم يبعتوا ناس يسوقهم جوه الحركات ووسط المجموعات بيحاولوا ان هم يفتتوا الحركات دي ويشتتوها عن مسارها الحقيقي.
But many protesters commit to staying on the square for the night. At 2 a.m., military police attack again. There are more beatings and arrests. The next day, the army apologizes. Then, on Sunday, 27th of February, a week and a half after it was promised, Ahmed Maher is called to a meeting with the High Military Council. It seems his faith in the army has been rewarded. It has freed 55 prisoners and promises a government of technocrats within days. People power could triumph yet.
That's it for this edition of People in Power. If you'd like to comment on this episode or any other matter, we'd love to hear from you on aljazeera.net/English. Until next time, bye-bye.
Thank you.
No. It's an astonishing moment.
We are globally yours.
All the news, all the time. AlJazeera.net/English.
People talk about televising the revolution. It's tweeting the revolution, Facebooking the revolution, videotaping the revolution.
A new world driven by new media.
This is a very peculiar moment in media history.
Nobody can force me in 2011 to watch whatever I don't want to watch.
Analyzing the media's role in shaping modern history. The Listening Post, at this time on Al Jazeera.
Rhythms of resistance.
A part of the struggle and popular resistance is art. Through my art, I resist. Resistance is my art, and my art is my war.
Musicians using music as a way to maintain their cultural identity.
I believe that when I sing to the world, I portray Palestine through my voice, my singing, and my songs.
Songs from the lost homeland. At this time, on Al Jazeera.
It was a revolution which ended half a century of autocratic rule and inspired a wave of public protest that swept across the Arab world.
Internet, Facebook, Twitter, they were not the revolution.
In an exclusive two-part documentary, Raghi Omar traces the roots and repercussions of this uprising and examines why 23 years of dictatorship fell in only 28 days. The Death of Fear, at this time on Al Jazeera.
The battle for AlJazeera. More than 30 are killed as pro-Gaddafi forces try to retake the western Libyan city. I'm Shuli Ghosh. You're watching Al Jazeera live from Doha with our continuing coverage of the battle for Libya. Armed groups are on the move after taking the oil town of Ras Lanuf from government hands. Plus, the turmoil continues in Egypt, where protesters have occupied state security buildings to protect evidence of human rights abuse. And over 100 people injured in Somalia as government troops launch a fresh offensive against al-Shabaab fighters. Well, we begin in Libya, where there's been a fresh wave of fighting. Forces of Gaddafi have been launching widespread offensives on key cities. Opposition groups have been pushing back where they can, but scores of people have died in the clashes. Let's take a look at the flashpoints. In what seems to be one of Gaddafi's only strongholds, security forces in Tripoli continue to crack down on any hint of dissent. But the most brutal fighting is taking place in AlJazeera. We're getting reports of heavy shelling by government forces on the western town. It comes after armed opposition groups drove them out earlier on Saturday. At least 30 people are thought to have been killed. Further east, armed groups are on the move after taking the oil town of Ras Lanuf from government hands. And in Benghazi, where the uprising began, over 17 people died when an ammunition depot exploded. Opposition fighters say pro-Gaddafi forces attacked the store. Lawrence Lee takes a look now at the ongoing battle for Libya.
One of the big debates during this conflict has been to do with the strength of the Libyan army, and pictures like this have been rare. This is the brigade trying to retake the town of AlJazeera, not far from Tripoli, where the fighting has been ferocious. Residents have claimed indiscriminate fire by the army. Soldiers loyal to Gaddafi say this is one fight they're winning.
With God's will, we are controlling the entrances and exits of AlJazeera. They cannot get out of the town, and they will not be able to do anything anymore. We are controlling it, and we will control more.
If the latest bombardment of AlJazeera is anything like this attack from Thursday, it's easy to understand why locals speak of chaos.
Ordinary people are helpless. We are taking refuge in our buildings. Paramedics are also cannot help. We are trying to save the injured and those who have fallen. We are helpless and we see people lying dead and injured on the ground, and we cannot help them at all.
The Libyan army is notoriously poorly resourced, which may explain why it's taking them so long to retake one town only a short distance from Tripoli. Even if the opposition fighters are badly trained, the one big advantage they do have is force of numbers. The rebels, for instance, say they've taken Ras Lanuf and are on the march towards Gaddafi's hometown of Sirte. There's still plenty of resolve here, apart from anything else they captured and then ransacked the symbolic prize of Gaddafi's beachfront residence in the town, which must have been gratifying for them. But more importantly than that, Ras Lanuf has oil, lots and lots of it.
At the beginning there, you see from here up to 10 kilometers, the port, the oil seaport, that's for exporting oil. You see, Ras Lanuf, that's the biggest in Libya here.
And Brega, further east, also still seems to be out of Gaddafi's control. Two things are becoming clear. First of all is that increasingly the fighting's being concentrated around oil towns, which it's hardly surprising Gaddafi's so keen to reclaim, while his assets are being seized all over Europe. His forces are also keen to destroy arms dumps in the hands of rebels. This one went up in flames in Benghazi, although it's not clear how. More than a dozen were killed, the funerals demonstrating once again how united Benghazi is against the government in Tripoli.